know a lot of people have to take the SAT sometime in their lifetime. And around this time, a lot of people in high school are taking the SAT. How in the world do you study for the SAT? How do you prep for it? What do you do the night before? And what do you do the morning of? I'm going to be answering all those questions in this video. Let's get into it. First things first, get books. There are a lot of SAT prep books and a lot of SAT practice tests that you can buy. There are a lot of different companies that sell books like this. Examples are Kaplan, Barron's, and the College Board. I used a Barron's practice test booklet. It was really good. It's broken up into the 4 sections of the SAT. You can practice those specific sections and it will give you the answers at the end. And it doesn't just give you the answers, it explains the answers to you. And it gives you the strategies to think about the specific types of problems that they give you. It's a great resource to have. Make sure you get those books early, because my second tip is to start early. Start a few months before you actually take the SAT. Now, if you're about to take the SAT in about 2 weeks, these tips are still going to help you, but it is going to be really great for you if you do start at least about a month in advance. You do not have to study every single day, but when you start early, you do span it out over a longer period of time so it can be ingrained in your brain even better. My third tip goes along with the second: complete practice tests over time. The more full tests that you take, the better you are going to be when it actually comes to the day of the SAT. I know practice tests are not that fun because it does take a very long time. It's pretty much the same amount as the SAT, but it is so worth it. When you do your practice test, make sure you are in an environment that is going to be similar to the test day. Make sure you're not in an extremely noisy environment. I know some people work better in a noisy environment, but on test day, you're not supposed to be noisy at all. So make sure you are in an environment that is pretty quiet so you can focus in that environment. Watch YouTube videos all about the SAT. You can learn different strategies from other people. Right now you're watching my YouTube video, but another YouTube video might have a bunch of different strategies for you. Also, if you come across a problem in the test books that you are extremely confused about, you can pretty much Google or type in YouTube anything, any type of problem, and there are a lot of professors and teachers out there that have created videos on different problems related to math or reading and writing or grammar, and all of that can really help you when it comes to the SAT prep. I did not take advantage of this next tip, but I know Khan Academy has a program that will help you towards the SAT. It takes you through practice questions every single day and it will give you points. You can actually take full practice tests on Khan Academy and you can see your progress. And I think that is a great resource if you're not able to get your hands on physical materials. Now, I've heard this tip. It doesn't work for me, but it might work for other people because I think it is a great tip, but just didn't work for me. Time to practice, like I said, is very important because you are in a time frame during the SAT. Some people might want to practice with a watch and bring it on the test day. If you start the watch, let's just say at 12, you can see the seconds and the minutes and how many minutes it's taking you per question. And you can look at a section in the test and see how many problems I have and how many minutes do I have to answer all of the problems. And then divide it up evenly and see how many minutes it should take you on each problem. If there are 60 questions and you're given 60 minutes, you have a minute per question. So you can look at the watch that you brought and make sure that you are on schedule for every minute. Now, this is going to vary. Some problems are going to be longer, some problems are going to be shorter than others. The reason this didn't work for me is because I could hear the ticking of the watch and I was very distracted by that noise. So it might not work for you, but you at least need to try it. I tried it. I figured out it didn't work for me, but I think it is a great option for people that don't get distracted by the noise. Now, I was blessed to be able to go to an SAT tutor. This lady tutored a lot of people around me, and she was really great. She gave me a lot of these tips that I'm sharing with y'all right now. I would go for about an hour once a week and just work on problems with her. It really did help me. It was not always fun to go because I know tutoring is not always fun to go to, even though this lady was nice. It's just not always something you want to do after school or on the weekends. But I saw a drastic improvement in my score after I went to see the tutor. She had seen the different tips that had worked for other people. So if you have access to a tutor, please take advantage of it. Now I'm going to give you a tip for each section of the SAT. First section is reading. Make sure you actually read the passage before you go to the questions. I know some people don't think that's right, but that is the tip that I was given and it actually did work for me. Don't get stuck on the little bitty words that you don't understand, but read through it and make sure you understand the whole big picture of the story and then go to the questions, and then you can remember, okay, that part of the story was in this paragraph. I need to go to this paragraph to answer that question. If you don't read the passage, you might be able to get a few answers just by looking at the question and then going back to the passage, but there's always at least one question like, what is the author's purpose in this passage? Or what kind of journal could this article fit into? And you won't really understand that if you haven't read the passage. Now for the writing and language section, go to the question first. You don't really have to understand everything that is going on in the passage because this is just the writing and language section. It's basically focusing on the grammar. When you go to the question first, you're understanding what types of errors you're looking for in the passage. In the math no calculator part section, just make sure you are familiar with formulas. A lot of formulas are going to be brought up. You can look up online formulas that you need to know for the SAT. The basic things from algebra and geometry are great to remember. You're not going to remember every single one of them, and yes, they do give you some formulas at the beginning of the section, but if you are familiar with the formulas, it's not going to take you as long. The last section is the math with calculator part. I highly suggest that you get familiar with your calculator. There are just so many crazy things that you can do with a calculator. Normally people come with about I think it's called the TI-84. Let's see. I have it on my desk because I was using it earlier, but this is a very big calculator. It is pretty expensive, but most high schools and colleges do require this calculator, and there are a bunch of different features you can do on it. It's not just a basic calculator.
You can graph, you can do logarithms and natural logs, and
there's just a bunch of stuff, and I don't know why I just named 3 things, but there are a lot of other things you can do, so make sure you are familiar with your calculator. Whenever you are practicing, actually use the calculator you are going to use on the SAT day. Don't just use your phone calculator, use a real calculator. Now, what in the world do you do the night before? Charge your calculator. You do not want to show up with a calculator that's dead. That's just not going to be good for you. Now, my calculator doesn't actually plug into a charger. You just have to put in new batteries. So if you have that kind, put in new batteries. Sharpen pencils. You have to use actual pencils. They say don't use any mechanical pencils, so I would really just use regular pencils. Make sure you have sharpened so many and make sure they all have erasers on them. Get a gallon-size Ziploc bag and put your calculator, your pencils. If you want a watch, you can put a watch in there, and put extra batteries in there so you have everything together and it's not strewn all over the place the morning of the SAT. Make sure you print out your ticket. You are not going to be able to take the SAT without this ticket. Also, make sure you pack your license because you have to show your license to the administrators at the facility where they're giving the test. So, ticket and license. Do not cram the night before. I promise you that one night is not going to make that big of a difference. Yes, if you cram and memorize really quickly, maybe it might help you with one problem, but it's gonna hinder you on a lot of the other problems because you just stuff your brain so much the night before and you could stay up late the night before cramming. Just don't do that. Just trust yourself, trust the work that you've put into it, and breathe. Pack your water and pack a snack the night before because you don't want to be rushing in the morning. Water is pretty essential because if you're dehydrated, you might get a headache, you might get a dry mouth, and that's just gonna distract you while you're taking the test. Also, you might get hungry during the test because it's gonna take a long time. So make sure you pack like a snack, a little granola bar, nothing too crazy messy, but I would just suggest bringing a granola bar of some sort. Pick out comfy clothes the night before. You don't want to be really uncomfortable in a button-up shirt and khaki pants or an itchy sweater and jeans. Don't do that. I like to wear some cotton pants, not like pajama pants, but cotton pants with a long sleeve or a sweatshirt because I get cold and it's normally cold in there. Lastly, the night before, make sure you go to bed on time. You do not want to be exhausted when you wake up in the morning. Make sure you go to bed at a decent time so you can get at least 7 to 9 hours. It is the morning of, and here are some things you need to do. Get ready. Actually, getting ready rather than just rolling out of bed and putting your shoes on and walking out the door and arriving in your pajamas, you should actually change clothes, brush your teeth, wash your face, do the things that you do in your normal morning routine. If you show up and you just feel a daze, like you literally just rolled out of bed, you are not going to be able to focus on the test because you're going to feel out of it. You're just going to be out of your routine, so make sure you do get ready like you normally do. Also, make sure you eat breakfast. I know some people are not breakfast people. I love breakfast. I can't relate to that. However, you really do not want to get hungry during this test, and your stomach growling is just going to make you really tired and sluggish, and your head's going to hurt, and you're not going to be able to focus on any of the problems. If you are not a big breakfast person normally, just eat something small. Make sure you have something on your stomach before you go to the testing center. This is an odd one, but please go to the bathroom before the test starts because you're not allowed to get up during each section. Yes, you can get up between most sections, but you really do need to go to the restroom because that is something that's just really distracting and annoying. Now you're taking the test, and my last tip is to breathe, do your best, and don't worry about other people. You shouldn't care if the person next to you has already finished and closed their booklet. Do your best, and don't get stuck on a problem forever. When you get stuck, you just feel even more confused and more confused. It just doesn't work. Trust me, I've been there. If you get stuck on a problem and you still have a lot of problems to go and the time is kind of running out, just put down an answer calmly, go to the next sets of questions, and you can come back to that question if you have time or if you need to. The Bible verse I want to talk about today is Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. The SAT is a very big test, and it can seem like a really daunting task to us, but it is pretty small in comparison to other big things that happen in life. But we can still be afraid of it, and we can still be afraid of other big things. But we're told not to be afraid in the Bible because the Lord is with us and the Lord strengthens us. Now, He might not whisper to you the answer of every question, but He can give you peace, and you can trust Him, and just remember that He's always with you. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really hope these tips helped you out. Don't forget that you are welcome to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Also, I have started a dual enrollment series. Every single Tuesday, a new video about dual enrollment will be posted, and every Friday, another video will be posted as well. It just won't be related to dual enrollment. Today is Friday, so I hope you'll have an amazing weekend and be a blessing to others today. Bye, guys.